Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Her Wellness. I'm your host, Lynette Thomas, and my co-host is Lady J. And Let's Talk Her Wellness is here to empower women to heal and grow and thrive in every aspect of their lives.
Every woman fierce and bold, let's talk her wellness, where her healing begins with Lynette and Lady J, where the journey never ends. Lift her higher, watch her shine.
Hey, what's up?
We are here. Welcome to
Yes,
Let's Talk Her
we
Wellness,
are.
ladies. How are you doing, Lady J? How are you doing tonight? It is so good to see you. So good to see you.
Baby, it is good to be seen and not viewed, honey. So I am blessed and highly favored on this terrific Tuesday. Hallelujah.
I absolutely love that. Listen, I am just, let's see here. I want to take off and I want to add on. But welcome, guys, to Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It is so good to see you. We have such an interesting conversation tonight. And listen, I want you guys to don't be stingy. I want you to like and share this post with
That's right.
all of the women tonight. Listen, October, Lady J, is so juicy. It
Yes,
has
it is. Yes, it
so
is.
much in it that you just won't believe it. You just won't believe. I just want to see something. I just want to see something. But yeah, it has so much entangled, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get to all this vibrant and healthy and amazing information. So, guys, listen, I want you to, again, like and share. I want you to go get your tea, okay? I want you to go on over there and get your tea. And listen, please,
Grab a
I want
girlfriend.
you to get your journal tonight because we're going to be asking you some questions. I really do. Lady J, this is a journal night. And I'm going to be asking
Absolutely.
some questions and we're going to be asking you some questions. And I want you to write them down, especially for our mothers out there, but without giving you all of the goodness, right? Without giving you all of the goodness, I am going to tell you what I am drinking in 2 cups tonight. So, in 1 cup, I have my amazing girlfriend. I don't know if you guys can see her. She has her red lips tonight, JD.
Yes, we
And
can see
when I'm
her.
leaning over and I'm drinking out of this amazing cup, because your cups give you that inspiration. And so when I'm drinking and leaning over and drinking my mango pineapple tea, she says,
Mm-hmm.
"Hello, gorgeous." She just reminds me that I am gorgeous because I am, and you are too. So not only just drink your tea from an amazing cup, but also let your cup speak to you to remind you of who you are and to remind you, of all of those wonderful little affirmations. Because every time you pick it up during the day, Lady J, it just reminds you. So, mango and pineapple tea is amazing for your digestive support. It is amazing
Right.
anti-inflammatory effect. And remember that word because we're going to be talking about pain management and we're going to be talking about inflammation. Okay? Because half the world has inflammation. But guess what? There is a wonderful, I don't want to say cure, can't say that. So, but there
Support,
is a
support.
wonderful way to help you manage and get rid of inflammation. And also, it's great for skin and cellular repair, great for hydration and detox balance. And so, that is what the benefit of drinking mango pineapple tea. And so, Lady J, what's in your cup, girlfriend?
Hey, 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 hey. You know the girl always got to keep something with a stem in it. So today I'm keeping it simple. 2 ingredients. I'm drinking alkaline water for my electrolytes. I'm also added something in order to do some things that will help with digestion and add
Mhm.
that is lemons, ladies and gentlemen. Lemons themselves don't necessarily detoxify the body, but what it does, it supports hydration. It's a natural detox to your system. So every morning, I would highly, highly recommend first thing that you drink, everybody, grab your glasses and have at the side of bed a bottle of water or a glass of water. In there, have some lemon. That should be the first thing that you consume because it helps with your digestive gut health. And we all know that the gut is your second brain. How you treat your gut is how well your life will be as far as what you put in. We talked about last week, junk in, junk out.
That's
So
right.
take care of your bodies. But most importantly, let's dive in, Lynette. I'm thinking about this topic. Oh, it's so powerful. It brought up so many memories, so many thoughts. The first thing that landed on me when I looked at the topic, I said, oh, I heard the word of God. It
Mm,
says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children.
yes.
Guess what? Tonight, we're not talking about money in the bank.
Mm,
I'm talking about reframing this, the inheritance of our bones, the unspoken lessons our daughters are catching while we think they're not watching, the way we love, the way we rush, the way we break, the way we pretend that we are fine. Oh, this topic, Lynette. When you dropped it into a suggestion, all I could think about is what are we really leaving behind? Are we passing down to our children peace or to what you say, or pieces? I'm
mhm,
adding that as a question. Are we teaching them to chase rest or to chase empty? Are
mm,
we modeling healing or hiding?
yes.
Tonight, we are going deep. Buckle up, get your notes, might need a box of tissues. Let's go, Lynette. Welcome in, everyone.
Welcome in, welcome in. Lady J, let me tell you something like you said. This October the 11th, again, we have so many. October is just an incredible month just in and of itself. So we might even run a little bit over tonight because I don't even want to rush this segment. And again, I want you to like and I want you to share. And we're going to do a little something different tonight because it's something about, first of all, I always say that healing needs an atmosphere. And
Right.
also, too, the right information can change and save your life. And so, for every parent out there that's raising children, there is, and I'm pretty sure, again, I want you guys to comment in the chat because I want you to send hearts up. I want you to know, we want to know that we're speaking to you and we want to ask you, you can ask your questions to us too. So, this is very good because we are interacting together. Although Lady J and I are bringing the information, but we want to know through hearts. You let us know that this information is touching you, that you are eating right. And so we always want to make sure you eat good when you're sitting at our table. And
That's
so
right.
I want you to grab a notebook, or I want you to open up an app note, take notes, however you need to do it. And tonight is interactive. So I wrote a lot of my notes. So you're going to see me looking at both screens. I have a whole lot that's open up to me and around me. And so I love to keep my notes because it keeps me on my topic and without me rearing all over the place, because I'm very specific tonight on what I want to talk about. And so, I want you to write down, and that means pause and capture it for you and your daughters, because this is for your daughters. This is for every woman that is on this live tonight, and you have daughters, okay? And this is important. This is important because it falls on, number one, October the 11th, and I want you to write that date down. That date is for International Girls' Day, right? And so we're
Right.
talking about the legacy of the girl, the legacy of the girl, her education, her health, her wellness, her mental health. How are you managing all of that? How are you handling your daughter? Do you and your daughter have a great relationship? What are you mimicking and what are you doing? How are you taking care of yourself in front of this girl child?
That's
And
right.
some of you, depending on what age and stage of your daughter's life, and I want to use the word daughter because daughter can be from whether she's 1 year old, whether she's 90 years old, whatever her age is, she's still your daughter and you're still her legacy. So I want you to tonight, just for a moment, I want you to think. I want you to put your thinking cap on.
Salty ice creams outside. You want some?
And I want you to put your hearing
Yeah.
on. And I want you to really go in. I want you to have your pen and piece of paper because I don't want you to run through this. I want you to hear what is being said. And while we're doing this, I want you to take a nice deep breath in. And I want you to let it out. I want you to take another nice deep breath in. And I want you to let it out. Because this is a conversation. And sometimes hard conversations aren't easy, but they are necessary. So, my first thing is, Lord, align our minds and our bodies and souls and help us model the wellness we want our daughters to inherit. I want to say that prayer again. God, align our minds, bodies, and souls to help us model the wellness we want our daughters to inherit. And I want you, if you're writing, write your intentions for tonight in one sentence. Write your intentions for tonight in one sentence. So we talked about, Lady J, what is legacy? What is a legacy of wellness? What is that? What is that? The legacy of wellness and what we pass down to our girls matter. Legacy isn't just money or stuff. It's habits, patterns, and peace. It's how we talk to ourselves, what we eat when we're stressed, whether we rest, how we set boundaries, how we pray, and how we love. Our girls learn wellness by watching us. I'm going to say that again. Our girls learn wellness by watching us. The plate we build, the words we speak to our bodies, the way we handle disappointment, the courage we have to ask for help, and the disciplines to rest. Our scripture is 3 John 1 and 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. So I want you to write this down. What do I want my daughter, niece, girls? Because if you don't have a daughter, you may have nieces. Okay. I mentor to inherit from me. Okay. What do I want my daughters I mentor to inherit from me? And I want you to list 3 things that you want them to inherit from you. Lady J, I'm going to stop right there.
Absolutely, Lady J. Let's turn those lemon water.
I have another question. But Lady J, just think about that question. What do I want my daughter that I mentor to inherit from me? And list 3 things. Lady J, what would be your 3 things?
Well, the healed me has a different answer than
Mhm.
when I was raising my daughter.
Say that again, Lady J. Lady J, say that again.
The healed me has a different response, sister. And I know somebody can identify with me out there. My response today, as I rattle off those 3 things, as an adult woman that has raised an adult woman, what I want to have my daughter inherit from me: wellness. That's number 1, Lynette.
Yes.
And when I frame the word inherit, I understand that it's more than just money. See, I started off with talking about a good man leaves an inheritance, right? So the healed version of me wants to leave healing characteristics behind to my daughter. So the healed version of Jadine says, baby, I want you to be well.
Yeah.
In every area that we mentor, that we speak about: mind, body, soul, emotion, money, right? Health. I want you to be well. That would be the first thing that I would say I would want to deposit. The second is love who you are.
Yeah.
Love who you are. Because I remember not loving me. I remember, see, epigenetics plays such a big role, right? Epigenetics is the quality of the maternal caregiving, not only the impact children's their development, but it could also result in the heritable changes in gene expression, right? So pretty much this scientific verbiage that I just got pretty much tells me that how I act and behave as a mom, it's deposited through my womb to my children, right? And I don't know that we realize that. See, the unhealed version of me was becoming, and I believe what I deposited in my daughter was wellness, but in reality, I deposited into her, put the cape on.
Mhm.
You superwoman. You can
Mhm.
do it all, right? So, hey Tara, good to see you, sister.
Mhm.
So, wellness, love yourself, and use your voice are the three things. Now, God first, okay? God first. But
Yeah.
after everything else, be well. All of those areas. Use your voice and love yourself. Those are the three things that, as the healed version of myself, that I would say that I would deposit into the woman that and you know this mean a lot to me, this whole topic, because
Yes.
my child is carrying life right now.
Yes.
So mommies that are carrying life, oof,
Yeah.
sister, I don't know if you realize it, but there's scientific data to support how you act, how you respond, what you eat, what you put in your body impacts not just your seed,
Mhm.
your seed, and your seed. So
Yes.
it takes down multiple generations. And I know, Lynette, I use the word becoming because every day I am striving to inherit something different.
Mhm.
Because what I inherited as a woman, and I know some of you all could identify with that with me, may
Mhm.
have not always been the best example in front of us. So, what are your three, sister? What shows up for you?
What are your three? This is a question that I am asking the ladies that are listening in the chat. Again, send your hearts up. I hope you are writing these down because these are questions. And even though you may have grown daughters, that's okay. How you show up in the world, you are still her shining example. My mother is on this live tonight. How she takes care of herself matters because it tells me, it shows me how to show up also in the world. Because, sometimes we think, and I say this to my mother, and, I cannot, guys, right now, I am thanking God for, my book being released this year, Unhealed Mothers Raising Destined Daughters. And from generation to generation to generation, we have passed down from generation to generation. What are you passing down to your daughter?
Right.
How are you showing up in the world? Number one for yourself as a woman, but also, ladies, your daughters are watching you. You are her shero, okay? Just like we say for men, their fathers are their hero. Our mothers is our shero. And so that question, what do I want for all you ladies? What do you want your daughters that you mentor, that you live your life out loud in front of? What do you want them to inherit from you? Now, that was the first question. The second question is, what do I not want to pass down anymore? And I think that Lady J broke that down. What do I not want to pass down any more to my daughter? List 3 things. And I'm going to come back to those questions because remember, I said that tonight was going to be an interactive night. I want to get you thinking because October the 11th, we will be celebrating, all over the world will be celebrating Girls' Day, the day of the girls, okay? And so I love this topic. And then I want to move on to self-audit. Yeah, I called it self-audit. How am I showing up? Before we teach wellness, we must be in wellness. Where are we at today? Where are we at? No shade, but it is good to sit in the know. Where are you, Adam? Let's do a gentle, honest self-audit right now. No shame, just light. Mine. What stories am I repeating? Fear, comparison, or anxiety? So we're doing the mind, body, spirit, and then we're doing relationships, right? So mine says, what stories am I repeating? I want you to really think about that. Fear, comparison, or anxiety. Then the body. What am I feeling? What am I feeding my body? Do I move or do I sleep? Spirit. Do I pray, journal, worship, or sit in stillness? Relationships. Do my boundaries protect my peace? Or do I give from overflow or from empty? And I want you to write this down. One shift for my mind this week. I want you to write down one shift. This is for the rest of the week because I want to go back and hit on the self-audit and how am I showing up. One shift for my mind this week. 10 minutes of journaling you can do. Then you can do one shift for my body. You can take an evening walk. Hydrate before coffee. Let me say that again for my coffee drinkers. Hydrate first before you drink coffee. One shift for your spirit. Do a scripture meditation at bedtime. And do one shift for relationships. One boundary I will hold kindly. So when we talk about how are you showing up? Do you operate in fear, comparison, anxiety? Like, what are some of those things that this is how you show up? Like if I was to have a conversation with your daughter, what would she say? How do she see her mom showing up every day? I've heard girls say, my mom is very fearful. My mom has so much anxiety. She has so much going on. If you ever want to know the truth, because one thing about the truth, Lady J, your kids ain't going to lie. They're not going to lie. If you want to know the truth, they are really good therapists. They really are. They are. And so showing up, it's important how you show up. And I like what you said, Lady J. You said the healed version of you. The healed version of you. is showing up different.
Hey, could we share?
Yes. Yes. I see a
All
comment
right.
there.
So Tara, I would love to bring her on stage, but maybe not tonight. I can say that I want my girls to be able to leave a situation, no matters what it is. You know what? I want to make sure that I'm continuing the first one. Yes, I am. Okay. When it's no longer suits them and not to stay, wow, if it makes them unhappy, that is so good. Then it
Mhm.
continues. I would pass around a gratitude journal for my family. We each had to write down something we were grateful. Wow, once a week. That is so,
That
so
that that
powerful.
that is so good. That is so good having, because again, when we talk about, and I cannot wait until to get into unpacking unhealed mothers raising destined daughters, because when I tell you that, just number one, sharing my story, and number one, um just as a therapist, seeing this dynamic duo, I come in contact, Lady J, with so many mothers, so many daughters who are frustrated because this particular relationship, this mother and daughter relationship, is a very sacred relationship. And how a lot of women are showing up in the world today, jealous women, catty women, fighting and yin all the time. It's
And I'm
because
thinking, hold on, wait. So because of the topic, right?
Mhm.
You said a whole mouthful.
Come on.
How women are showing up today. We're
Mhm.
talking about what we pass down to our girls. What is the chance that jealousy was something that she watched from mom?
Mm. Come
What is
on.
the chance that she watched mom gossip on the phone?
Mhm.
What is the chance that she showed her mom not be loyal to watched her mom not be loyal to friends?
Mhm.
So what we're seeing today, if we start to look at it, says maybe this is what mama showed her daughter. Maybe her mother showed her daughter. And we are raising generation with certain behaviors because mom passed it down.
Mhm.
Think about it.
And that's what we
Our
call, Lady
scientists,
J, generational curses.
well, you can pass a
Generation.
curse or you can pass a generational blessing.
That's right.
So to that point, it depends on what we're passing and if it's something that we're passing that's positive or something that we need to pause or something that we need to put into the grave, to your point, sister.
Yes. Yes. And it's just so important that we come into self-awareness, because it makes me think about a book that I read, and you guys can write this down. And I have to get that author for you, but it's a book called Why We Act in Ways We Hate. And it really digs into the history of how you was raised, because like it says, children don't raise themselves, you raise the children. So a lot of ways that we act that we don't like, they were inherited, because the first people in your life is your mother and your father, and how they live their life out loud in front of the children is crucial. And so sometimes you may find yourself saying to your kids, I don't know why you act like that. Did I say, did y'all heard me, right? You'll be the first to say, I don't know where they get that from, because they sure didn't get it from me. They must have got it from their mom. And then the mom say, and then the father say, no, they must have got it from your side of the family. Come on, we've been in them rooms where we heard that. They must have got it from your side of the family because they ain't get it from me. Listen, DNA.
Well, even think about that, Lynette.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times parenting comes with a do as I say, not as I do, right?
That.
So parents, they show behaviors, and either I could take it on or decide if I'm old enough. Now, if I'm not old enough, it becomes what our ecosystem is made of. Think about hate. Think about racism. That's learned behavior. Two children that are in an environment from infancy, they don't become racist, or they don't exhibit racist behaviors. They don't say, I don't want to play with this kid until somebody told them not to. So as we are unpacking this, it is so profound for us to really focus in on how our influence as moms, or the lack thereof, how it shapes the lives of children, even down to work behavior, sister. How the kind of work behavior. If I'm a smoker, my children become smokers. If I'm obese as a parent, my children become obese. So I see this topic, and it's so many unspoken lessons that our daughters, and even to say, hey, sons as well, are catching. And we may not even consider, like, what are they watching? Like, I got to get on my soapbox, right? Because we see these videos all the time on social media where kids are mimicking. So they dropping it like this hot, and they think it's cute because their 2-year-old is listening to explicit lyrics. And what are you now passing through to your child? Or on the other side of it, right? I've seen where babies can't even speak, but because they're in the spirit, in the presence of God, in the presence of somebody that's bathing them in, they raising their hand and waving their arms as if they're mimicking praising God. And I'm still gonna press you, sis, because you thought you got away with it. I want to know your 3. You got a daughter? What is it that you gave to her?
And so what do I want my daughters, my niece, my girls?
Yes.
Because I have a lot of girls in my life, and I want them to inherit from me. First of all, I want them to inherit good work ethic. I want them to inherit that, because that's very.
What does that look like? What does that look like? Good work ethic.
Meaning, I want them to, first of all, education. It is important. I talk to my niece all the time. I want them to get their education. That's one of the things that I mentor them on, how important it is to be self-sufficient. And I'm not talking about in the way where we've heard our mothers and grandmothers say, oh, you don't need nobody, because that is a lie. Let me say that again. God did not create man to live on this earth alone. So I never want to pass down to my daughters, I never want to pass down to my niece and the women that are in my life that God has given me the, they look up to me, they come to me, they talk to me. And so I'm always mindful and in prayer about how I'm handling them. Because again, we're raising destined daughters. And so, I want them to be able to know the importance of education, because we live in a world of information. And so they need to know the information so that they know how to show up for themselves. And then the second thing that I want them to know, I want them to know to have how important it is. And I think before education, this is number one, how important it is for you to have a relationship with God. To thine own self be true. And so you cannot do anything in this world without God in it. So it's important that wherever you go in life, whatever you do in life, let God be first. Let him lead you. Let him guide you. That's one. Then I said education. And then the third one is take care of yourself. I have many, but these three, how you take care of yourself.
That's right.
Self-love, right? Self-love. Then I believe the first one was soul care. So, we talk a lot about self-care, but we don't talk a lot about soul care. And so how I take care of my soul, how I nurture my soul is everything, because it's going to tell me how I take care of myself. So if I don't have that spirituality, and so that's what we do, we take spirit out of everything we do. You cannot. Spirit and wellness, they go together. They're intertwined, they're married. And so those are the three things.
But hold up. I know you're talking about what you passed down. That's good, Lynette, right? How about if it wasn't passed down? Everybody ain't sold out like we sold out.
Right.
Everybody ain't, waving their hands and reading their Bible and living this way.
Right.
So I like how you framed it, that we're in a season in this now world where we are passing down things to our children that now atheism, I don't believe in God. We're passing down many gods, polygods, the God of worshiping the handbag, the God of worshiping what I'm spending and what I'm putting on my back, the God of worshiping, being so busy. I'm calling these gods because, any of these things that we idol become the gods in our lives. And there's so much that you had said that you're giving to your daughters as I'm listening. I'm just always reminded of like what a blessing it is when we have and for people who have experienced that mother who had known herself. And it sounds like, as I listened to you early on, I talked about becoming. Was this something that you were able to see and glean this early as deposits that you put into your daughter's lives? And when I say daughter, your daughter and niece.
I mean, give me that question again.
Okay. So I'm framing it around that you said the things that you give to your daughters, that you and your niece, so all the girls that's in your life. I'm
Right.
asking, was this always something from you first becoming a mom first, and I know through marriage, and then you and your nieces are like you are their second mom, right?
Mhm.
So was this something that you were already there, that you knew that you needed to deposit into, like, because it was deposited into you, so it was something that passed down through
It
your
was definitely something that was there. You know how you have people that plan their children. So, you know, when these babies were born, I mean, that was in my mind. I always had a thought in my mind. If I become a mom, I'm pretty sure a lot of you can understand what I'm about to say. When I come a mom, this is the type of mom that I want to be. And so,
Mm,
as I've always had that in my mind. I always wanted to be a mom. And so,
really?
yes, I've always wanted to be a mom. And I did have a daughter and I lost my child. And so, and much love to a lot of people that may be online that have had this experience. So, you know, I didn't get that opportunity. I had the opportunity to carry and to have that excitement, but, you know, I didn't get a chance to see that out. And so, however, I've always vowed the kind of aunt I would be.
All right.
And so, my daughter with my husband, you know, I could truly say that I have a very good relationship with the girls. And I take that
Absolutely.
relationship very serious. And, I try to, because none of us are perfect. And I want to say this online because sometimes the guilt and the shame sometimes that women can hold because they don't feel like, I did the best I can raising my daughter. I want to speak to that while it's on the line because I feel that. Some of
Right.
you I can hear that. I tried to be the best that I can. I tried to do the best that I can, and God bless that. But, I always have a thing that I say that was then and this is now, and that's what my coaching session is about, coaching mothers and daughters. And you guys in the next few weeks will see that those classes out there that I will be hosting online and in person, working with mothers and daughters to maintain their relationship, because I get a lot of that. I get a lot of mothers that are frustrated. They have grown daughters now. Their relationship is a bit strained and they don't know how to get it back together. It's going to take work, and it's going to take some healing work. But for you mothers that still have a chance, how you show up for yourself, number one, is how you show up for her. Now, I have some questions. I have one from Chantel. She says, I make sure I'm touching bases with my daughter, and daily I'm in communication with her to see what her mental state is and asking if it is anything I can do for her or anything she needs. Rather, it's spending time together doing something or having a conversation about something concerning her. The older she get, I'm realizing how important it is. I make sure I always watch my responses when addressing things.
That's so
And,
good.
that is good. Chantel, that is so good. And I want to speak to that. But then I have over here where Tara says, to my first comment, she said, I stayed in a job for 10 years and I was very unhappy. And I brought my frustration home, which I know I
Mm,
had a direct effect upon my daughter. And I regret that. I actually had to be let go from that job to learn my self worth. I'm going to just stop right there
that is wow.
because
That
that
is so
right there,
powerful.
both of you women
So
said
profound.
something so powerful because Tara, that's something that I heard before. That is something that we have had to address in our family. And because you're at work all day and you bring that stress home. How many parents have we seen and who are doing that right now today? You come home with all that hell and fury, and then you bring that home, not even thinking about how your kids are in school all day and they're going through the same thing you're going through. And so you guys bring that home and it crashes because a lot of times we don't ask the kids how they feel. We don't think about the kids.
Well, I also would say to that, Lynette, remember, as children, I could say, I'm coming from Black mom. I
Come
grew
on.
up in a Black household. My mama told me pretty much, shut up, be quiet, go sit down. In a nice kind of way. Shut
Uh-huh.
up, be quiet, go sit down. Right? So we may not have learned to have a voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
To
Mm-hmm.
be able to communicate. I say the children today, especially Gen X, how we've raised our children, we see that, and we've given our children voices, sometimes too much voice, but
Mm-hmm.
we understand that we don't want our children to be marginalized. But I remember, shut up, sit down, be quiet. So, and
Mm-hmm.
our daughters, they inherit that. Like, I remember encountering a mother that she was with. It was three generations.
Mm-hmm.
The mother, grandmother was yelling at the mother. The mother was yelling at the kid, right? And some the things we see, we mirror because we are a direct reflection without realizing it. And I want to say to the two sisters that shared, thank you for sitting in
Yes.
that vulnerable space with us for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's not easy, especially to share when you were on the road of becoming, right? I I, I heard Lynette say that we don't always get it right because it wasn't always given right to us. I don't have no manual, no book. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to make this thing up and do the best that I can. That's how many of us moms are showing up. But then to the beauty of the other side, when we have a better starting place, I love, Lynette, what you shared.
Mm-hmm.
That planning. Ain't too many Black folks that's planning pregnancies, but
Yep.
to have your nieces and to be a part of something where thought was given ahead of time. Oftentimes we become mamas. Holla at me, sisters, if you hear me.
Mm-hmm.
I stood
Mm-hmm.
at the I stood and just sitting in transparency at the altar with two children, one in my arm. This is what my pastor said. He said, "Where them babies at?" He talking to me and my children's father. We at the altar. We go get our babies and bring our babies to the altar. And what he prayed for was this whole unit.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I don't know, but I know that, sisters, forgive yourself for when you were still figuring and finding it out. Forgive yourself. And for sisters that may can identify with these two brave sisters souls that stood with us, lean in. Lynette said, pull your journals out, right? I don't journal in writing. I journal in voice memo. So I have hundreds of voice memos on this phone that capture my blessings, that capture my burdens, that capture the days that I'm drowning, and the days that I feel like I can conquer and move mountains. And there's something, ladies, that our minds hear when we and deposit when it's our voice speaking to ourselves. So I invite you all, pull out your phone, record a message to the old you. And Lynette deposited something first thing. She's like, sisters, who do you want to become? Like, as a mom, who do you want to become? Just because them children is grown and adults, you got breath in your lungs, you got a moment to still say, I love you. And if I may share before passing it back to you, sister, my daughter called me into a conversation. Notice how I framed that, right? She called me on my ish. She called me into a conversation. It was like, Mommy, I feel like you make me feel guilty of things sometimes. And I was like, oh, wow. But then I'm sitting in full transparency, naked, right along with these two sisters. She get it from her mama. I have experienced that with my very own mom, right? And even in as healed with all of these titles and all of this education, I'm still becoming. She called me into the conversation, and what I did the next day was to send to my children a voice memo. And I didn't apologize, but I just sat in honesty with my children, and I said to them, I deposited things into you that, and I feel the emotion, that I haven't always was the best version of myself, right? A girl that allowed for people to not treat me with love, right? The girl that didn't have a voice or didn't use her voice, right? And the girl that was not always well because she was always doing so much because of this cape she carried, right? So I just gave myself permission to say to them, I love you, but I did the best. Notice I didn't use the word but, ladies. I took a but out of it because that removes it. I did the best that I can and that I could. And I know that there were some things that was deposited into me that literally I had to yoke up and say, oh, Mom gave that to me. Or Grandma gave that to me. To turn it back to God, because it can't serve me, especially not into my next chapter. It can't serve me.
Lady J, that was so deep, and I just want to say thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that, because somebody else needed to hear that. And I just want to say that Sometimes your story is somebody else's open door because sometimes we think that we by ourselves
That's right. That's right.
and we're not. And I want to go over here because I just want to interact with our.
Bother it. Bother it.
But
Bother it.
let me tell you, Chantel said something. Shantina said something. She says apologizing also, because a lot of
Mm,
people think that they shouldn't apologize to their kids.
that's so good.
Wrong. Sometimes just listening is what is needed instead of responding. Oh my God.
That's some
Right
healing right there.
there.
That's so some healing.
That right there. How many of us know what it is like to have our parents apologize to us? You see, I have a heart. God has given me a special heart for
That's
kids.
right.
And I think and I know that that gift that God gave me is a cushion for my niece and for girls that come into my world.
Mm,
Because I hear kids, because I remember when I wasn't heard. So I give back what I always wanted. And you know, when God gives you vision, He laid this upon my heart. When I tell you, Lady J, Unhealed Mothers Raising Destined Daughters, I sat on this book for years and I would not release this book until God really started pressing it upon my heart. You got to release this book. And I remember going to Sean Saunders, bless his heart. And I told him about this. And I remember him saying to me, I got you, but you got to get this book out.
that's good.
And don't sit on things, programs around this book because the book isn't out, because I was holding that back. But I just,
So why the delay? What was it? What was it that you were
because
processing
sometimes
this time?
anybody, any author would tell you that when you write a book, truly writing a book, and this is healing work, you got to expose yourself. And I didn't want to expose my family. So, you know, God has released me from that because the book is in rotation now. And so I am releasing the program around that book.
Can I step in again? Because you said something, Lynette, that exposing your family.
Mhm.
When did you determine it was okay to expose whatever's in the book, to release whatever that was telling you pause? What, when did it, when and how did you get there?
Because I always say God has he has such a personality, and he will always let you know what you should be doing. And as a counselor, therapist, I start getting a lot of these clients. And when I start talking about the book, I'm like, wow, this sounds like the book. And when I start talking to them about the book, the emotion, and I was having these encounters too much. I have them too much. I have them too much. A lot of my time is spent in a day counseling. I'm counseling. I'm counseling. I'm counseling. And it's mothers and daughters, mothers and daughters, mothers and daughters. And I'm seeing it in my family. I'm seeing that mother and that daughter interaction. And I'm saying, wow, this right here, you better catch this. You better catch this, because I'm seeing right now, this is not going in a good way.
Mm.
And I'm mentoring a lot of the babies that feel like I can't talk to mommy. And I'm like, okay, God, I just got to the point. I just said, okay, I'm releasing it. I have to. And now is the time. 2025 is the time, because as I sit on this, God is letting me know, as you sit on this, a lot of people need this. I've planted inside of you this seed, and the more you sit on it, the more they're not getting what they need. So we are sitting all on this live tonight. We all have a purpose and a plan, right? And if we sit on that purpose, we're not, when you start feeling, a lot of people say, I don't know what my purpose is. And you have a purpose. When you start feeling tired and you start feeling unfulfilled, and you may have everything. I got a good job, I got a good home, I make good money, but I just feel empty. I just feel, yeah, because you're not living and you're not doing the things that God has purposed you to do. That thing that you love, that thing that you talk about that lights you up, you can talk about it endlessly. That's what God has called you to do. I can endlessly talk about the body and the mind and the soul and how the body works and how it intertwines and what make it go, because that's my passion. And it's my job and it's my purpose. And so I have to release Unhealed Mothers Raising Destined Daughters, because God wants unhealed mothers. I want you to be healed, because when you heal, she rises. That's the workshop. I just gave y'all the workshop, so you heard it here. When you heal, she rises. And so I want to see all y'all at the workshops held all over the world. I want you in one of those workshops. They're going to be sold out. I'm telling y'all, because God already showed me sold out. I mean, arenas filled to capacity, because that's how serious this is. That relationship between that mom and that daughter is a serious relationship, because the one thing that I get down to, and I'm going to finish on these, emotional safety. I have a podcast and it's called She Heals. And a lot of you probably heard this one, but it says, sis, that's not attitude, that's trauma. When you have grown women, you may say all the time, she got an attitude. No, that's not attitude, baby, that's trauma. And we got to know the difference. If we were raised around yelling, control, walking on eggshells, our nervous system learned survival. But survival isn't the legacy we want to pass down. We want to model calm responses, deep breathing before reacting, using I statement, and honoring non-negotiable safety. Because, ladies, this is Domestic Violence Month as well, right? And so if you are someone you love may be unsafe in a relationship, because we're talking about domestic violence, if you are not alone, make a safety plan Reach out to a trusted professional or local resources, right? But I want to get down to one question. Why is it important for moms to pass down? And I want to leave with this. Why is it important for moms to pass down legacy of wellness to their daughters? Number one, because legacy shapes identity. Daughters learn who they are by what they see modeled. The way a mother speaks to herself becomes her daughter's inner voice. The way a mother treats her body becomes her daughter's mirror for self-worth. When moms model self-love, calmness, nutrition, faith, and balance, daughters grow up believing wellness is normal, not something they have to chase later. We don't just raise daughters, we raise future women, and the world needs healed women. So it is important for us to take care of our mind, our body, and our soul. It is important. I'm not talking about just going to get a massage, or you just go get your hair done every once in a while, or you just go get, your eyebrows done. That's maintenance. That's not wellness. Your daughter needs to see you, how you take care of your spirit. How do you take care of the business of wellness, and how you take care of your body, and how you eat nutrition foods and get up, and how do you show up? And I want to leave that with you today.
Lynette, before you end that, add
Mhm.
to this, because we need to, we ain't even scratched the surface of how moms show up in relationships with
That,
men, and how that deposits into their daughters.
mhm,
That
mhm.
is so major.
That is
Mama,
major. And that goes back on the back of domestic violence, because we said that the domestic violence is this month. So we teach our girls how to be safe. How do we be safe? How did that show up in your home right now? How does safety show up in your home right now? And I want you to write this down. Write one emotional regulation tool that I'll model. What is one emotional regulation tool that I'll model? Whether it be pause to breathe, step away from things, whether it's to journal or whether it's to pray. My mother, one of the things that she taught me many things, but one thing I can just kiss her face today. My mother taught us to write. She taught us the importance of journaling. She used to say that sometimes when you cannot talk to someone, write it down. Write in your journal, because when you write in your journal, it's just like talking to somebody. You get a chance to, and what that did as a kid, journaling right up until now, journaling for me, because there's power in your pen. There's power in your words. I have a journal for everything. Journal for my marriage. I have a journal for how I want to show up in the world, just like we're talking now. How do I want to show up in the world? I journal for that. I journal for my wellness. What are some of the things that I want to implement in my wellness journal? I have a journal for my friendships. How do I show up in my friendships? All of those.
So what is the value of what you have? What does the journal offer to you? So in those areas, what is it that it deposits
They
from
offer so much to me, like when I journal for, let's say for instance, as a wife, when I write down, because you can get real. You ain't gonna lie in that journal. You can write it down. And sometimes, after I write down how I want to show up as a wife. How am I showing up as a wife? And where am I getting a lot of these attitudes? How do I know how to be a wife?
Okay.
I'm writing these down. What do I need as a wife? And
Okay, so as you're writing them down, I'm
Mhm.
loading this conversation, right?
Mhm.
And you say all these things. What do you do with them? Like, is it just to release, or is it for application? So somebody that's listening, and if they're going to pick up their journal,
Mhm.
um, maybe it's a combination of both, or maybe it is something else. I just, want to frame around, okay, so I pick up my journal, I'm writing these things down. What could I expect to the benefit, or what is it depositing into, my life, being able to write this journal down,
Okay.
and what's
So in everything we do, it's called research. So once you write this down, that's you getting it out, right?
okay.
You are getting it out. It's on paper. And how does it come alive? Because, see, once it's out, writing in a journal is just like an architect. An
Tell us
architect
about it.
visualizes a home, they can bring your vision to life, write the vision and make it plain. Father, what were you telling us? Why is it important for us to write the vision? Because when you write the vision, it's out of your head. Now it's on paper. Now I get to read this out loud. And as I'm reading it out loud, now, God, you give me the how to this. How can I change this? How can I work on this? Then now what it's going to do? I'm going to read that. Now I'm going to go do some research. Now I'm going to, oh, wait, there's a book to this that can speak to this. Oh, wait, there's a podcast that I can speak to. That, oh, so this wasn't just in my mind. This was, oh my God. And then not only you get all that, now this is a point of reference. You can always go back to these notes because these are the notes, these are the matters to my heart. Right? So this is a road. This is a road map. Your journal is a road map. And it is the ideas, it is the feeling, because we feel. We're living in a generation now, we don't feel. We don't feel. They tell you to man up, suck it up, no.
Wait, is that learned behavior?
That's learned behavior.
Because I grew up in a house of suck it up. I grew up in a house like that. And I especially believe that a lot of, I'm generalizing, right? That I was going to say that sometimes, especially for our sons, that they get a lot of that, be brave, be strong all the time. So that they don't have the mirror of of seeing emotion. They don't, it's void oftentimes, as it should be more exposed for our sons. So to your point, I'm thinking as I listening and as we talk about things that are passed along, that could be something too, Lynette, that's passed from mother to daughter.
Listen, we talk about the legacy of wellness and what we pass down to our girls matter. The legacy. Learn. You said it. My mother raised me the best she could. But her behavior was learned from her mother. And her mother raised my mother based off of her mother. So a lot of how we were raised, you mimicked it from somebody else. I love a question a young man asked Bishop T.D. Jakes, because he was doing he said, I came on the stage today. I don't have on no suit. I don't have on nothing. I came on this stage today as a man. And one guy got up and he said, Bishop, I have a son. How do I teach my son how to become a man when I wasn't raised by one?
Right.
I was raised from a mother. I had a strong Black mother. And my mother had girlfriends that they was just mothers. So there was no man around. And Bishop said, you gonna find a man that is modeling. I ain't talking about no man just being a man. I'm talking about a man that's living his life in such a way that you can look up to him. And you mimic that. Right? Because some of us don't, if you ain't had it, you don't have it. But now I look at, because it's not what we say, it's what we do. Right here in my notes, it says that our daughters is not what you say, it's how you live your life in front of them, because healing starts at home. Many of us are the first healed women in our lineage. Let me go back and say that. Many of you are the first healed women in your lineage. When a mother heals her trauma, learns to regulate her emotions, and nurtures her body, she ends generational cycles of stress, silence, and sickness. You said that in the very beginning, Jadine. The healed you. Passing down wellness, physical, emotional, and spiritual, changes family DNA. You're rewriting what normal looks like in your bloodline. When we heal, we don't just heal for ourselves. We heal for our mothers, our daughters, and every woman who comes after us, right? 1 second, because it just took me over and out of my note here. But that right there is so powerful. When mothers are open about health and emotions and faith, daughters grow up emotionally literate and spiritually grounded. They learn that it's okay to feel to question, to rest, and to prioritize peace. They carry that strength into their friendships, their marriages, and their motherhood, becoming the next generation of women who break cycles and build community. Because if we don't teach wellness, the world will teach wounds. I'm going to go back and I'm going to end like that. Because if we don't teach wellness, ladies, the world will teach wounds. If our daughters don't learn love and boundaries from us, they will learn from relationships that hurt them. If they don't see us rest, they'll burn out trying to prove themselves. If they don't see us honor our health, they'll inherit the same illness that could be prevented. It is important for us, knowing what we know now, because that was then and this is now. Knowing what we know now is important, because how we are is how she will show up in the world, in her relationships, in her friendships. A lot of us have grown girlfriends. We got sisters. And a lot of our sisters that are grown, 50 and 60 years old, has issues. And guess what? They're mommy issues. They're mommy issues. And so we don't want to pass that down. We want to raise amazing, vibrant women. And by teaching healthy eating, regular checkups, and self-awareness, mom give daughter tools, prevention against breast cancer, stress-related illnesses around burnout. You're teaching her that body is sacred, her voice has power, and her wellness is worth protecting. Early habits become adult lifestyles. So legacy is about long-term health and sustainability. Because legacy is God's design, Proverbs 22:6 remind us, train up a child in the way she should go. That doesn't just mean behavior. It means showing her how to live whole, healthy, and balanced in mind, body, and spirit. God designed family as the first ministry of healing. A mother's example becomes the living curriculum her daughter studies daily. Your home is her first wellness center. And legacy isn't about perfection, ladies. It's about presence. And that right there, it is how we'll end this. And we're going to do a part 2. We're going to do a part 2 of this.
And before we close out, if I may, but I want to give you a minute to wrap up about the part 2.
Yep, part 2 is, we're going to do a part 2 of this, because like I said, this has layers to it, Jay. It has layers to it, because it runs us right into, again, it runs us right into domestic violence.
Yep.
It runs us into, a lot of those things. And guys, as we get ready for, let's say, International Day of Girls on October the 11th, we celebrate by implying her voice and teaching healthy literacy. So model and teach body confidence. Speak well of your body in front of her. Speak well of your body in front of her. Consent and boundaries. Her no is holy. Healthy literacy teach her basic body knowledge and who to talk to. Digital wellness, time limits, positive feeds, critical thinking online. Leadership, ask her opinion at the dinner table. Learn her plan. Let her plan the meal, rather. A budget, a mini project. And write this down. One conversation I'll start with my girl this week is, what is one conversation, whether she's grown, whether she's, a teenager, or write down one conversation that you will start with your girl this week. And one leadership moment I'll give her is, having these, we have a opportunity to do it right. We have an opportunity to, grab our babies by the hands and do it different. We have that right. What did Shantina said, when I started experience perimenopause, I didn't know what was going on. Once I found out, I explained to my kids, I had them to research so they could have an understanding of what was happening. Now that right there is real good right there. Because when you talked about that perimenopause, that's a whole nother subject right there, because when your body start changing on you, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know something's going on, but you don't know what it is, because it have you acting in ways that you probably can't stand yourself. So if you notice that something is off with you, then you know that affects your family. It affects those children, because they got to put up with your attitude. But Lady J, this is really, really, really good. And there's one question that I want to pose to my audience. And you can DM me. You could put it in the chat. But one of the things that I have coming up, been working on it, perhaps is something that the mothers on here will be interested in. But we're having a healing circle for mothers and daughters. And it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be phenomenal. This circle, this is going to be an interaction with you and your daughter. And it's going to be based off of and about her that you're going to fill out, because not everybody is the same. So it will be critique to you and your daughter. And I'm loving how it's coming together. And I believe and know that it's going to be so powerful. It's going to be so powerful, because I talk to a lot of struggling mothers, a lot of mothers that hold guilt, that they know they weren't the best. And they are, it's nothing like wanting a relationship, but you know that relationship is a little damaged and you don't know how to get it back. And then for our mothers that do have a great relationship with their daughters, but they just I want to maintain it. I want us to keep our connection, because communication is everything. And how do we communicate with our children now at the different ages and stages? And for some parents, that could become a little bit complicated, because it's one thing when they're Teenagers, it's another thing now in their 20s and their 30s. You know, we communicate differently. So we really do go through seasons of communication with our children. So this circle is going to be amazing. And you guys will see it out there soon. And I hope you be a part of it with your daughters. Mm-hmm.
Sounds beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, we wrap up tonight, and we went a little longer than we normally do, but I think that sometimes and we're going to have times like these, that when you have these types of conversations, I wish they was out when I wish this was out when I was growing up. But however, you know, this is good. This is really good. This information, you can't rush some things. You need to let it take root. But this has been an amazing segment. Again, the legacy of wellness and what we pass down to our girls matter. This is a movement for me. This is a movement. This is a part of my life ministry. And you're going to see a lot and hear a lot from this space. So, Lady J, is there anything, you know, that you want to close out with tonight?
Well, as I think about what was shared, for me, what I would say that as a closing exercise, I would like to just sound healing to the women. If we may lift a short prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Father, we thank you for this sacred space tonight. We thank you for every woman who listened, every weary woman that listened, every winning woman that listened, the broken woman, and God, the woman that is becoming. You saw the battles that we as daughters have witnessed, the tears, the disappointments, the celebration, all that we witness, Father. We thank you even for the lessons, God, the lessons that we get and the lessons that we give. So, Lord, renew the minds of every woman and quiet the hearts that may be heavy because of the choices they made when they were not healed, God. For our daughters, we want, God, for us as mothers to not spray perfume, but to become the fragrance of rest, to become the fragrance of laughter, to become the fragrance of life, to become the fragrance of wellness, to become the fragrance of peace and light. And we forget. And when we forget, God, simply remind us that healing is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. And wellness is the inheritance that we are building only in you. Amen.
Amen.
So, sisters, we pray and believe that your life today will be the best life as we heal in order. Thank you for joining the conversation and leaning in to learning and winning with us. Sister?
That was just so good. And we will see you guys Listen, like and share these posts with the women in your lives. And we will see you back here, same time on Tuesday from 7 to 8. And
Everyone